Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is C# object-oriented programming design pattern tutorials, and I am hopeful that these tutorials will help you implement different solutions for the common design problems in the object-oriented programming. And the programming I chose for this implementation is C#. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and promote the content. Introduction of design patterns. There are various types of programming languages. For example, functional, procedural, object-oriented, scripting, and logic programming languages. Almost all these languages present design problems while creating applications. No exception for the object-oriented programming. There are a lot of problems that programmers face while developing their applications. Design patterns are commonly used solutions for those design problems. The problems that we face have common and reusable solutions that are presented by the design patterns. GOF, Gang of Four, classified 23 design patterns in their famous book. There are four main elements of a design pattern, and they are name of the design pattern and the problem they're supposed to solve, and the context and the solution they present, and the consequences and the results of the application of the design pattern to the problem. Classification of 23 design patterns. There are mainly three classifications: creational design patterns, and structural design patterns, and the behavioral design patterns. Now, creational design patterns. Abstract factory. This design pattern helps create objects from related classes without specifying the concrete classes. Builder pattern. This design pattern helps build objects with different representations. Factory method. This method defines a way to create objects where subclasses decide what kind of object is going to be created. Prototype design pattern. This pattern creates clones or copies of objects without depending on the classes. Singleton design pattern. This design pattern helps maintain only a single instance of a class will be available throughout the life cycle of the application. Structural design patterns. Adapter pattern. This pattern helps objects to collaborate with different incompatible interfaces. It helps classes to work together through interfaces that they could not otherwise do it. Bridge pattern. It bridges between the object's interface, abstraction, and its implementation. And basically, it is a bridge between the abstraction of the object and the implementation. It provides decoupling of abstraction from its implementation. And composite pattern. This pattern transforms classes into a tree-like structure and use the structure as standalone objects. It helps transform objects into a part-whole hierarchy. Structural design pattern continued. And there is a decorator pattern. This decorator pattern helps us wrap objects with new behavior by adding new responsibility to the objects at the runtime. Façade. This design pattern provides a common unified interface to interact with the subsystem. It works as a main gateway that helps us interact with the underlying subsystems. Flyweight. This design pattern helps us manage the memory efficiently, and it helps us share the common state of different objects. Proxy pattern. This pattern helps provide a proxy object that controls the access to the original object. Behavioral design patterns. Chain of responsibility design pattern help pass objects along a chain of objects that decides to handle or pass the request to the next object in the chain. Command design pattern handles the request as a standalone object. Interpreter design pattern. This design pattern helps us include language elements into a program. Iterator design pattern. This design pattern helps us traverse the collection of sequentially without exposing the underlying structure of the collection. Behavioral design patterns continued. The mediator design pattern. This design pattern help us reduce object dependencies and provide simplified communication between objects. Memento design pattern help us save and retrieve the internal state of the objects. Observer design pattern. This is a famous design pattern that help us implement a subscription mechanism to observe the changes in the state of an object, and we can observe the changes in a object and act accordingly. State design pattern. This design pattern help alter an object's behavior when its state changes. And behavioral design patterns continued. The strategy design pattern. This design pattern help incorporate different algorithms into a class that objects can use according to their requirements. Basically, this design pattern help us incorporate different strategies that objects can use according to their needs and runtime of the application. Template. Template help us implement algorithms in steps or placeholders in child classes. And the visitor design pattern. This design pattern help you manage different algorithms separately from objects in a class. These are the 23 design patterns, and next videos will provide thorough theoretical knowledge on these design patterns and also a best possible implementation in C# programming language. Keep watching my videos and provide feedback on through comments, and if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and promote the content. Thank you guys. Have a very good day.